بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وإيمانا وفقها في الدين اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وتجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا يا رب العالمين. So this is a commentary of the 17th hadith by Imam al-Nawawi. So this hadith by he said on Abi Ya'la Shaddad bin Aus. You want to read? You want to read? Okay.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم عن أبي يعلى شداد بن عوس رضي الله عنه عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم
عن رسول الله
صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الله كتب الإحسان على كل شيء فإذا قتلتم فأحسنوا القتلة وإذا ذبحتم فأحسنوا الذبح
فأحسن الذبح
وليحد أحدكم شفرته وليريح ذبيحته.
رواه Muslim. Alright, so this hadith by Abu Ya'la Shaddad bin Aus. Abu Ya'la is one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, and there's no much information about him, so you will not prolong on his biography. So he's the nephew of the poet of the Prophet. Right? The Prophet has a poet. Right? A poet. Do you know who a poet is?
Yes.
Alright. So the Prophet has a poet. Okay. This poet, whenever poets from a different tribe or from among his enemies, right, say something bad about him, the poet will respond on behalf of the Prophet. So he's called Hassan bin Thabit. And Hassan bin Thabit is one of the companions that lived quite a long life before Islam and also witnessed his Islam and embraced Islam. Right. So these people, they are termed muhdaram. So those who lived life before Islam and then also, lived life after Islam, or lived after the prophethood of Muhammad and also embraced Islam. These are called muhdaram. Right? Muhdaram. So some say he has lived 60 years before the Prophet and then 60 years after. Yeah, in Islam, 60 years before Islam and 60 years after Islam, right? And then there's also another one, but that's Abdullah ibn Salam. He's among the Jews. He was among those who embraced Islam when the Prophet the first among those who embraced Islam when the Prophet arrived in Medina. So Abdullah ibn Salam. So Shaddad bin Aus, that's his kunya, Abu Ya'la, right? His name is Shaddad bin Aus, and he's among the scholars, the fuqaha, the jurists among the Sahabas. It's one of the jurists among the Sahabas. And if we say a scholar or a jury among the Sahabas, it means that it's not all of the Sahabas that are what? Scholars. We've discussed this severally, that they are scholars among the Sahabas, they are mujtahidun among the Sahabas. So he is one of them, one of the Sahabas, and then he served as a governor. The Prophet ﷺ gave him a glad tidings that he will become the Imam of Sham, right? And then he later, after the death of the Prophet, he settled in Sham, in Palestine, and also he became the scholar, right? Mufti of Sham at that time, and then also he became the governor at that time, and he died in the year 58, right? So there's a companion who died in the same year. Do you remember? 58.
Is among the four-guided Khalifs?
No, the four-guided Khalifs, they died before 58. Last among them is who? the last one on the list?
Uh,
Ali ibn Abi Talib.
no.
When did he die? He died in the the 40th year, right? So none of them lived till what the 50th year. So even Abu Huraira died in the year 58, and then Aisha, 58, and Aisha also died in the year 58. So Abu Ya'la, Shaddad bin Aus, also died in the year 58. Remember we mentioned that it's Abu Huraira who prayed, who led the Janazah prayer of Aisha when she died, right? And he also died after her death. He died 2 months after her death in the same year. And Shaddad bin Aus as well, right? So he narrated this hadith. He said, Anna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, Inna Allah كتب الإحسان على كل شيء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed perfection, ihsan, in everything. Right? So we will explain its sentence after sentence, inshallah, in great detail. Inna Allah كتب الإحسان على كل شيء. Allah has what? Prescribed ihsan and perfection in everything. And he said, وَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ. فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ. He said, when you kill in what? In a best way. وَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَةَ وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الذِّبْحَ. And when you slaughter in what? In a best way. Right? And then he said, وَلِيُحِدَّ أَحَدُكُمْ شَفْرَتَهُ. Let each one of you sharpen his what? His knife or his blade. وَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَتَهُ. And so that he or she will spare the animal that they are slaughtering. Narrated by Muslim. Okay, so now he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Allah has prescribed ihsan in everything. Okay, so now, ihsan, what is ihsan? Do you remember this word ihsan? We've discussed it in one of the hadith, in the second hadith. What is the hadith saying at that part?
Says that أن تعبد الله كأنك.
No, before this. You did not mention the ihsan.
فأخبرني عن الإسلام عن الإحسان.
عن الإحسان. Who said that?
Jibril.
alayhi salatu wasalam. The man, right? Jibril. So he said, فأخبرني عن الإحسان. Right? And he said, أن تعبد الله كأنك ترى. So he said, ihsan is what? To worship Allah, see what? You can see him. Right? And if you can't see him, for indeed he what? He sees him. So here, that's ihsan. So now let's look at the meaning of ihsan. Right? Ihsan, if we say ihsan has what? Several meanings. Right? Ihsan has what? It's a comprehensive term in Islam and it has several meanings. So ihsan could mean good deeds. Good deeds. Right? Allah said in Surah Al-Rahman, هل جزاء الإحسان إلا الإحسان? Is there any reward for goodness aside goodness? Right? So here, ihsan is what? Good deed. Right? Right. So meaning when you do good, you what? You'll be rewarded with what? With goodness. So ihsan here means good deed. And then ihsan could also mean perfection. Right? Perfection in the sense that whatever you do it what? In the best way possible. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ, one of the hadith, he said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ إِذَا عَمِلَ أَحَدُكُمْ عَمَلًا أَنْ يُتْقِنَ. Allah loves that when you act on an action, you what? You perfect it. You do it what? In the best way. Right? So that's ihsan, to perfect what? To perfect your deeds, right? Your ibadat. When you pray in the best form, you know. When you fast, you observe the pillars of fasting and then the adab, right? And then the third meaning is also what? Mercy. So ihsan could also mean what? Mercy. So this hadith, the Prophet has used what? Ihsan here to mean two things, right? To mean perfection and then mercy in one hadith. So we explained that. So the third meaning is what? The third meaning is mercy, right? So and then Allah has used both the same word in the glorious Quran in numerous verses to mean different meaning, right? So here it means what? Mercy, to be merciful, right? So we said the first meaning is perfection. No, the first meaning is good deeds. The second meaning is perfection, and the third meaning? Mercy. Okay. So now, so Allah said, آخذين ما آتاهم ربهم, right? إنهم كانوا قبل ذلك محسنين كانوا قليلا من الليل ما يهجعون وبالأسحار هم يستغفرون. So Allah is what? Allah is describing the state of these, believers on the day of Qiyamah, right? آخذين ما آتاهم ربهم, right? They will what? They will extend their hands in receiving the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Allah said, إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَبْلَ ذَلِكَ مُحْسِنِينَ. And they were rewarded with what they will be receiving because of what? Because of their good deeds that they were what? They acted upon in dunya, right? And Allah also said, وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Right, so here Allah also used what? The word ihsan, right? And also said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. He said, وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And then what? Spend in the cause of Allah, right? In the way of Allah. وَأَنْفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. And do not what? Do not put yourself in what? In distraction by abstaining from spending. وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Because when you abstain from spending the cause of Allah, what will happen? You will become weak. You will not have the necessary resource and then weapons to fight the believers. So you will remain weak, and then they will fight you and then overtake your territory, right? So when you do that, when you abstain or you refuse to spend in the cause of Allah, you are indeed putting yourself in what? In distraction and in danger. وَأَحْسِنُوا, meaning spend. So here it means what? Good deeds, right? وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And Allah loves the good doers, right? So now, let's come back to the hadith. So here there are many verses that Allah has mentioned that He loves the good doers, right? He said in Surah Yusuf, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And when he became mature, meaning Yusuf, when he reached 40 years, what happened? We blessed him with what? With knowledge and wisdom. وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And that's the way we reward the good doers. So now, the Prophet said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَتَبَ الْإِحْسَانَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ. Allah has prescribed. When we say prescribed, meaning He has made perfection or mercy. Yeah, the word ihsan, He has made prescribed ihsan in everything, meaning he has made application of ihsan in everything, meaning it's wajib in everything, right? But of course it depends on what, right? If it is something that doing it is wajib, then ihsan in it become what? But if it is sunnah or recommended act, then ihsan in it become recommended. You get it? So Allah has prescribed ihsan in everything. Inna Allah kataba al-ihsan ala kulli shay. And then the word kataba means it means obligation, right? And you find this a lot in the Quran. Allah said, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam kama kutiba ala alladhina minkum. Right? Fasting as what has been prescribed for you, as was prescribed, for the nations before you. So like that. And then also said, he said, min ajli dhalika katabna ala bani Israila annahu man qatala nafsan bighayri nafsin من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. Okay. So here too, Allah has what, and then also said, كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم. Right? So Allah has prescribed fighting, meaning engaging in a battle for the cause of Allah, has made it what? Obligatory upon you, even though you dislike it. Okay.
So does that mean there's ihsan in fighting battles?
Yes, we will discuss that. We will discuss. So now we understand that ihsan, Allah has made what? Ihsan obligatory, or Allah has prescribed ihsan in everything, right? In everything. So we will discuss the example that the Prophet mentioned in the hadith, and then we want to also give another examples, inshallah. So, inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay. And he said, فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَ. This is example of what ihsan. He said, when you kill in what? In a best form. In a best form. Right, so what does it mean? It means that, let's say, in Islamic law, when a person deliberately kill another person, right? The law says it should what? The person should be killed. That's a person, if the person kills someone deliberately, right? Because if it is a mistake, or if it is a mistake or kind of indeliberate, it's not what? The person will not be killed. There's also another ruling for that. But when someone kills another person deliberately, the person should be killed. So now, this person, this murderer, right? This murderer supposed to be killed according to the law, right? So how should the killing be done? So that's what the Prophet is saying here. This person has to be killed according by the law, right? So the killing should be in the best form, meaning we should not, let's say, amputate the person's hand and feet and then cut the person's ear just for the person to feel the pain before dying. No, the person should be killed in the best way. So now we have to find out how is the best way, the fastest way to kill this person.
Say what suggestion?
I'm not asking. Yeah. So that's it. You find what? You find the fastest way to kill this person, right? So that's ihsan in this regard. So when you apply the fastest method in killing him, you've applied ihsan in the punishment. We don't say that because he has committed murder, so therefore we have to punish him before killing him, right? No. So ihsan need to be applied here. You see, even here in punishment, ihsan need to be applied, right? So this one example the Prophet gave. وَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا الْقِتْلَ.
In Surah Al-Ma'idah, you look at after that verse,
Yeah, so after the story of the two sons of Adam, okay.
If you look at after the verse, came down and Allah mentioned that if anybody who fights Allah or cause any corruption in the world is supposed to be killed or cut his leg or his
yeah.
That's a punishment.
Yeah. So this also another prescribed punishment, right? So the verse says, the verse said, من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا ومن أحياها فكأنما أحيا الناس جميعا ولقد جاءتهم رسلهم بالبينات ثم إن كثيرا منهم بعد ذلك في الأرض لمسرفون إنما جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا أن يقتلوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف أو ينفعوا من الأرض ذلك لهم خزي في الدنيا ولهم في الآخرة عذاب أليم. So here he said من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض. This is a prescribed punishment for someone who has killed another person deliberately. The person needs to be killed by the law. And then another one is إنما جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله ويسعون في الأرض فسادا. So this is another crime, two different crimes. So here the person who fights Allah and then the messenger, meaning who fight the religion of Allah and the messenger, the prescribed punishment will be mentioned later. وَيَسْعَوْنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَسَادًا. And also he causes atrocity on the earth, or corruption. He spread corruption on the earth. So here, what does it mean? Spreading corruption on the earth, it means that this person, let's say, he stand by the road and then take people's property, or maybe rape women and then take their property, kill them or harm them and take their property. This is what some scholars are saying this is what Allah is referring in this verse. وَيَسْعَوْنَ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَسَادًا. Right? So these are two crimes. What is the punishment? أَنْ يُقَتَّلُوا. The person. So here the judge will decide which. Yeah, he will decide from this the following punishment. أَنْ يُقَتَّلُوا. So the judge will decide, okay, whether this person should be killed or أَوْ يُصَلَّبُوا, or the person will be crucified. أَوْ تُقَطَّعَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَأَرْجُلُهُمْ مِنْ خِلَافٍ. Right? Or the person's hand and feet were amputated. So if, let's say, the left arm is amputated, the right leg also be amputated. Min khilafin, this way, right, like this. You get it? So that's the punish. So here the judge will decide. It is discretional. The judge will decide whether the person should be killed or will be crucified, or his hand and then his feet will be amputated. So the judge will describe. So it's different. Okay, so this is not like just a punishment to let the person feel the pain. No, this is a prescribed punishment for a specific crime. You get it? Okay. So here, that's it. So here you understand that even in punishment, there's what? There's ihsan. Right. And then the second example the Prophet gave in the hadith, he said, وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ, and when you slaughter, فَأَحْسِنُوا الذِّبْحَ, and when you slaughter in what? In a best form. Right? And then he described how you should slaughter. And he said, وَلْيُحِدَّ أَحَدُكُمْ شَفْرَةً. So, in order to slaughter in a best form, or to apply ihsan in this slaughtering, you should what? You should sharpen your knife or your blade. Right? You should sharpen the tool that you use in what? In slaughtering. وَلْيُحِدَّ أَحَدُكُمْ شَفْرَةً وَلْيُرِحْ ذَبِيحَةً. Because when you do that, when you sharpen the knife and you slaughter, what will happen? You know, the animal will find ease in in dying, right? But when you use a blade that is not sharp, what will happen? You kill it twice. Yeah, that's what the Prophet said. So the Prophet was walking, and he was once walking, and then he saw a man sharpen his knife while the animal was looking. Yeah, and then he said to him, "Why do you want to kill the animal twice?" Yeah, because you know. yes, you know, we do that a lot, you know. Yeah, you tie it and then you know he started sharpening. You know, this is not good. Alright? So you have to You have to sharp the blade or the knife before you tie it. And then the animal should not see it. Right? The animal should not see it. But unfortunately now we will tie it and everything. Now we will now be searching for the knife. We will now be searching for the knife, you know. So here the Prophet has given 2 examples of ihsan. Right? Just 2 examples of ihsan. But when you look at ihsan, it's applying in everything, in ibadat, in our dealing, in our relation with people, and with our family and with ourselves. We have to We have to apply ihsan. So now, how do you apply ihsan in your ibadat? You apply ihsan in your ibadat by By performing it in the best way. Right? You perform it in the best way. Now, let's say you want to pray, and you know that you are a very busy person. When you start praying, your businessmen will never leave you. What do? You have to put the phone on silent or you off it so that you can focus. When you do that, you will apply ihsan, right? So that you can gain the full khushu and concentration in your prayer, right? So this is ihsan, right? And also, in dealing with people too, there are things that you know when people do it to you, you will not be happy. Don't do it to others. This is ihsan, right? You treat people right. So you have to apply ihsan in everything. So now, how do you apply ihsan to yourself? Right? Ihsan to yourself. Now, you know, you have our everything is limited. Our strength, our sight, our knowledge, our sustenance, everything is limited, right? So giving yourself, applying ihsan to yourself is to have enough rest, right? Anything that will jeopardize your health, you don't have to do it, right? Anything that will put you in a financial stress, don't do it. This is applying ihsan to yourself. And so you have to also apply ihsan to others, and then animals as well, right? You don't have to harm any animal, right? You don't have to harm any animal. You don't have to throw stone to any animal. You don't have to overburden any animal. So now, you know, Allah has created donkeys, horses for us to ride, and then to help us carry some load from one place to another. As Allah said, وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرَ لِتَرْكَبُوهَا وَزِينَةً وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Right, so Allah created the horse, and then the donkey, and then the mule for you to be able to move one thing from one place to another. Things that you can carry it yourself, right? So here, even though Allah created these animals for this purpose, but you have to apply ihsan in the way you use them, right? So you don't carry too much load that they can't, right? You don't have to load so much things that they can move. So you have to apply ihsan. So once the Prophet ﷺ was there, then a camel came to him and then complained its master to the Prophet that the master is overburdened it, and then he don't also, the master don't feed it well, right? So and then the Prophet ﷺ spoke to what? To the master. So here we have to apply ihsan in what? In everything. So there was also a man who saw a thirsty dog, and then it fed it, and Allah rewarded him immensely, right? And there was also a woman who tied a cat, right? So she did not feed the cat and did not also allow the cat to go and what? Search for food. So the cat died as a result of what? Of that, and she was punished for that, right? So we have to what? We have to apply ihsan in what? In everything, in our ibadat, in our dealings, in our muamalat, and also ihsan to ourselves, right? And also ihsan to our animals, and also even in punishment. Also in war, the Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to apply ihsan, even in war, right? So the ihsan we apply in war is that we don't kill those who are not in the battle, right? You know, sometimes you'll be in a battle, and then you find people who are just attending to a daily activity. You don't have to kill them because they are not fighting you. You don't have to kill them, even if they are your enemies or the non-believers, right? And then part of ihsan in war is that we don't have to kill women and children and old aged folks, right? So this is this is also ihsan. And then one of the ihsan in battle is that according to the Islamic law, we don't destroy properties, right? Even if you conquer, right? Even if you conquer a city or a town or a country, you don't destroy. You don't destroy houses, you don't destroy churches, right? So this is all part of what? Part of ihsan, right? So ihsan, as the Prophet said, Inna Allah kataba al-ihsana ala kulli shay. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said, Inna Allah ya'muru bil-adli wal-ihsan. Right? So Allah has commanded us to be just, and then also apply what? Ihsan. But ihsan here means what? Mercy. Right? So you have to You have to be just and then mercy at the same time. Right? And then we discussed about mercy several times, that the Prophet said, Man la yarham, la yurham. He who don't have mercy on others, Allah will not have what? Mercy on him. And Allah, the Prophet also said, Yarhamu man fil ardi, yarhamukum man. Have mercy on those on the earth, and then the one in the heavens will also have what? Mercy on you. Right? So here, when we look at the word of the term ihsan, it has what? It has it's a comprehensive term, and it has an expansive meaning, as we discussed. And then the Prophet encourages us to apply ihsan in everything. Is there any question?
Yes. So you said even if maybe a Muslim maybe during war you conquer maybe a city or conquer a nation, you shouldn't destroy the properties. So does that mean that maybe you conquer maybe a non-believing kingdom?
Yeah, a city of non-believers.
City of a non-believers. You can permit them to still worship, do what they are doing.
You don't have to destroy that. You can turn that place of worship into a mosque, right? Into a mosque.
Even if it's not befitting the standard of a mosque.
No, a mosque. What is a mosque? A mosque is a built structure, right? So even this room, we can turn it in a mosque. You understand? Don't look at the design with that design in there, and then the minara and all that. No, this is not a mosque. A mosque is what? Any built structure. So a church, now in the West, churches are, Christianity is declining, and then Christians or churches, they are selling their churches out. The building. Yeah, so they build these buildings, you know what is happening to it? Muslims buy it and then turn it into what? Into a mosque. So if they buy it, they buy the property and then turn it into a mosque. So and then you went and then conquer a Christian land. And then there's a church, you want to destroy it. You get it? So you can what? Turn it into what? So maybe if there's a painting in it, you what? You make sure you remove it, right? You remove the painting and then, yeah. And then there's a mosque in Istanbul. It belonged to the Romans, you know, at that time it was called Constantinople, Istanbul. So and then it was occupied by the Christians, and then it was their center, you know. And then there's this Amir, this ruler by the name Sultan Muhammad al-Fatih. So he conquered Istanbul, right? He conquered Istanbul and then turned that mosque. It was their center at that time. He turned that that church into what? Into a mosque. And it's still a mosque, right? And then when you go there, you can still see the paintings, right? You see Jesus here, the paintings of Jesus, the one they call Jesus. Yeah, you see it there. And then you see another woman they call Mary, also there. And then with a baby they call Isha, also there. You know, you see all these paintings, but they are still praying there. So that's the painting. And then it's very difficult to destroy that painting because of the way it was done. So, but it's a very big mosque. So down there, it has a first floor and then ground floor. So the ground floor, they've decorated it well as a mosque. They are praying. So this does not change anything. You get it? So part of Ihsan is don't destroy any property. Even if it's a church, you don't want to use it as a mosque. Okay, you can use it as a market or use it, utilize it. Don't destroy it.
But you shouldn't permit them to still...
Of course, you can also permit them to worship. If they surrender, they want to pay tax, you can what? You can permit them to worship. There's no problem.
Say, what if it's a shrine? Maybe it was a shrine.
Yeah, so a shrine
but
is also...
with that one, you know they are doing things that are against the will of...
Even in the church, according to the Islamic... according to the Islamic doctrine, according to the Islamic dogma, it's also against Islam, right? So any place of worship, you don't destroy it. And then let's say you conquer the land, and then someone is in his shrine, worshiping and doing his things. You don't have to kill the person. The person did not fight you. Let him do what he wants to do. Let him continue with what he's doing. This is all part of Islam. It's part of the teaching of Islam when it comes to war and battle.
So I want to ask, like, what after the fights between the Muslims and then the kuffar of this one, Mecca, after their battle and everything, you know, now they became very established, settled and everything. And after that, like, what led to their what motivated them to start conquering other places, like
who, the Muslims?
Yeah.
Okay, so Islam, the Islamic State was established when the Prophet ﷺ migrated from Mecca to Medina, right? So before that, there's nothing like Islamic State. They were Muslims, worshipping Allah, some in secret, some in open, until he moved to Medina, where they established the Islamic State. Okay, so this Islamic State, when they established it, of course, when they established and then became powerful, it became stable. Of course, they called the surrounding tribes to Islam, right? It's not like after they stabilized the state, they started fighting. No, Of course, the Battle of Badr is the Prophet who initiated it. I understand. But he did not go out with the intention to what? To fight. He went out to what? To seize the property of what? Of the properties of Quraysh. Because, you know, they had 2 journey in a year that they what? They embark on. Right? Two. So one in the winter and one in the summer. Right? So it happened to be that they use what? They pass by Medina to Mecca. Right? So the Prophet ﷺ, strategically set an army to what? To go and what? And meet them and seize their properties. Right? So they were able to escape, and it's that particular movement turned into what? Into a battle. Right? So that's the battle of Badr. You get it? That's the battle of Badr. So, and then the subsequent ones, you know, the subsequent ones was not like a deliberate this thing. It's one thing led to what? Led to another. You understand? So, and then also with the surrounding empires, the Prophet ﷺ invited all of them to what? To Islam. Some accepted, some did not accept, and some also rejected. You know, some also did not say anything, like Muqawqis. He did not say anything, you know. So, and then, but before the death of the Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, many tribes came and then what? Embraced Islam. Right? So Islam spread in what? In the Arabian Peninsula, right? And then before the death of the Prophet too, Makkah was conquered. Right? Makkah was conquered. And then in the life of the 4 guided Khalif, then they started what? The territory of what the Islamic State started to what? To expand. You understand? So, and then of course it's not like they went to attack. Before the attack or fight, they call them to what? To Islam. Right? When they accept, then that's all they don't have to fight them. But when they fail to accept Islam, then there will be another condition. Are you willing to what? To pay? There will be a jizya, right?
So it means that, like, as if I understand, like they were the ones in control.
Yes, yes.
So it means that everyone should pay tax to them.
Yes.
So if you're not willing to pay.
Yeah. So if the first proposal will be if you want to accept Islam, then that's fine. Your land becomes what? Part of the territory of the Islamic Empire, the Islamic State, right? But if you don't want to pay, don't want to accept Islam, right? You want to remain on your religion, right? And you want to also you want to be in peace with the Islamic State, then you have to what? You have to pay tax. You get it? So that's how it is, right? But if they say, some will say okay, some will say no, we don't want to pay any tax, we don't want to embrace Islam, then there's nothing except what? War, right? So when such land is conquered, right, now they have to, there are 2 ways they will pay. Those who embrace Islam, among them will be among the Muslims. They don't have to pay anything to the Islamic State.
So you don't pay tax?
No, they don't pay tax. You know, but those who engage in a battle and were defeated, right? Some of them will remain on the same land, use that particular land, and then be paying kind of be given some portion, a share from that farm produce or something to the Islamic State.
So in other words, they're also paying tax?
Yes. But that, they don't call it tax. You know, it's an agreement. It's like a partnership, right? They hire the land to them for them to work, and then they share the profit, right? So this is called Haraj.
But the land is for the Muslims?
Yeah, because they conquered it. I understand.
Say, it skipped me. But I wanted to ask a question in regards to the season of the property. like what initiated the battle of Badr. So, does that mean, like in Islam, is it right for maybe the Muslims to attack the non-believers, maybe to seize their property because they are non-believers?
No. See, this one, what led to the Battle of Badr is a different situation, because now the property belongs to what? Quraysh, right? The Quraysh. So now what happened? You know, when the Muslims were in Mecca, they punished them, they maltreated them, they tortured them, right? And then they chased them out of Mecca. So almost all of them, when they were leaving Mecca to Medina, they left behind their properties. So their properties were not there. You know, the Quraysh did not just leave the property because the owners had left. No, they took the properties. Right? They took the property and they used it as their capital to trade in. So the Prophet deemed it appropriate to what? To seize their what? To seize their property, to seize that caravan. You know, so that they can also use it to what? To build the Islamic State. You get it? Because most of them, even the rich among the Sahabas who left Mecca to Medina, they left behind their properties, their houses, their wealth and everything, and then migrated to Medina empty-handed. You get it? So that was why the Prophet ﷺ, attacked them to seize their what? To seize their property. You know. I didn't mean because of what they've done to them in Mecca and then chasing them out of Mecca to take their property. The Prophet wouldn't have what? Done that. You get it? So here it's for a specific reason. But that doesn't give any Muslim right to go and seize a non-Muslim's property. No. You don't have that right. Even if a non-Muslim is living in an Islamic state, he has the right to own his property. Yeah, you have no right as a Muslim leader or ruler to seize the property. No. Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so, for example, like Saudi Arabia, like this. Let me say that because Islam is, let me say, established. I don't know, okay. But if you look at it like, so if they decide, or I don't know how I understand from the initial issue. If I decide I am a president, or my religion is dominating in Africa.
Okay.
And I call all the other African states to accept Islam. And they said no. And I'm like, okay, you have to pay jizya. Other than that, we will fight. So like, what is like, if they say no, that's their decision. To not accept Islam, that's their decision. Fine, no problem with that. Why should they pay jizya after not accepting Islam?
Okay, so now you are there now, you know, and every time. Okay.
Like, is it like I want to add this? Like, is it like they are benefiting something from my dominion or my kingdom? That's why they are paying the jizya, or?
Okay, so now, in every time, in every era, there are superpowers. Yes, you have to understand that. Before the Prophet became, before the Prophet started his mission as a prophet, there were superpowers. Right? At that time, there were superpowers, right? And then, also it continued, and then it changed, right? Some a state or empire took over from that superpowers, right? And then it continued like that till it became what? Till it's the Muslim became what? The superpowers at that time, right? So during the time of what? The four guided caliphs and all that, I mean, the Muslims, the Islamic State was what? In control. You get it? So at that time, they are in control of everything, right? So when they call you to Islam, you accept Islam, then your territory become part of the Islamic State. If not, then you have to pay jizya. If you refuse to do that, then they'll fight you. You understand? So Of course, because they are the superpowers. But the main notion is to call you towards Islam. You understand? But if you refuse,
That's not forcing.
no, they are not forcing you. They are not forcing you. They will call you towards Islam. If you accept, fine. If you don't, you pay jizya. If you don't want to pay jizya, then there's nothing left except to what? For them to fight you and then take over the land. Yeah.
Okay, Sheikh, what if maybe the person was scared? Like maybe even though the person don't want Islam, but he said, I'll accept Islam. But
Yeah, so such people will be freed. They will be considered as Muslims. In this dunya, they are Muslims. Yes, but in Akhirah they are not. So they will be spared. They will not be killed. Not their properties will be saved and all that, right?
I remember. I don't.
is it like because I want to understand something like. But sometimes if somebody like example you are trying to, it was a norm that any superpower has its rules and like they are following. But is it something against Islam or it's not?
What we just explained? Of course, brother. These are the Khalid, the Khulafa are doing. They don't do something.
I'm just trying to get this. Like example, you call me to Islam and I say no, and because you are stronger than me, I should pay. What I say no to your this one your proposal, and if I don't pay, you beat me. I'm just trying to. I don't know whether it was like I want to get. I know it is not. I mean I know it is okay. It's right in Islam. I don't have to go with it, but I want to understand why.
So now, see, when the Prophet came to Medina, he came and met the Jewish community there. There are about 3 tribes there, right? So when he got there, they were the inhabitants, but they came and met the Arabs, you know. So they were there cohabitating before the Prophet came. And then he allowed them, they had agreement that no one should breach the agreement, right? And they breached the agreement. They acted contrary to the agreement. So now what happened? Because the Prophet came and established his state there, he dominated there. So what happened? He chased them out of Medina. You get it? So when you dominate, that's how it is. So that's the benefit of becoming superpower. Yes? But even with that, they did not, act unjustly to anyone. You understand? They did not. You know, whereas other superpowers will just come and attack you and then take your property without any proposal or anything. You get it? But the mission of the expansion is to expand the territory of Islam and to spread Islam. So when they call you towards Islam and you accept, fine. You become part of the Muslims, and then you will not be harmed.
So the reason why they are just doing that is their mission.
Yeah, of course, to expand, to spread Islam. You get it?
So that means it's something done at their time, and also if maybe the non-believers also dominated, they would do the same.
Yes. They so it was even worse. Yeah. The disbelievers. When they conquer, they burn everything and destroy everything. When you just read about the history of in Spain, what happened to the Muslims, you know, they attacked, conquered them, destroyed everything, burnt the books and everything. But according to the rule teachings of Islam, this will not be done. Even if the whole books are Bible, you have to leave it, preserve it, leave the library like that. But they burnt the library, the books, everything. You get it? So did they call them towards Christianity? No, they just attacked them. But of course, they are also on a mission, right? They are the Crusaders. They were also on a mission. You get it? So like that, that's how it is. So when you dominate, you protect the territory. You can't. Yes.
Okay. Then now I understand why they are.
So when you dominate and then you allow, okay, this is an enemy. You allow him in the territory to operate, to do whatever you want in your territory. So currently, do you think that America will allow, let's say, Iran to have their military base in America? No, right? So like that. So when you dominate, it's like that. Even now we have superpowers, right? There are many things they won't allow certain countries to do. Even some things are happening. You see a superpower come and say, "Don't do this," and you ask yourself, "What does this concern you?" Yes, like that. Yes, you know. So that's it, and it's like that. It has been like that. You know.
Say about the fact that maybe somebody would pay this one some amount of money for jewelry or something. Okay, they pay the money to you and you allow them to still do what they are doing, but in your territory. As long as
Please come again.
Okay, for instance, maybe you attack some people and you propose to them to become Muslim and they denied, and you propose to them that they have to pay you, and they said, okay, fine, we are going to pay the task. Now that they are paying the task, that means you allow them to do what they are doing, as long as it doesn't breach or something for you people to stay together. So what if, as part of their worship or as part of the things they do as their livelihood, they start establishing things like maybe alcohol store and things, and even though that's how do we say it? It doesn't affect you in that direction.
Yeah, but it goes against your religion.
Yes, you know that, and then maybe when time goes on, it's going to be very open. A lot of Muslims will be affected by that. So in that sense, what do we do?
Yeah, so you have to, I mean, since they are paying that tax, you have to allow them to practice their religion and then do what they want to do, right? But if the harm will be more than good, right? Let's say the tax that they pay, it's good for the Islamic bank, right? For the Bait al-Mal, but the harm will be more than what? More than the benefit. So here, the ruler can set some boundaries. You get it? But they can still take their alcohol, but sell their alcohol, produce the alcohol. Yeah, but with a certain regulations, it's permitted. And then they can also practice their religion. You get it?
So you said like nightclub. They establish a nightclub in maybe it's something that was already going on before you conquer. So you propose to them and you're like, okay, we are willing to pay tax to continue. This is what we survive at. And you permit them. So in the broader sense, it's more like no matter what, there are Muslims who definitely fall victim to those. That's why I'm asking the question. Even though certain boundaries.
Yeah, so you set boundaries, but you are not, that's not your job to make sure that the Muslims don't go there. It's not the responsibility of the ruler to make sure the Muslims don't go there. There's nothing that you do some Muslims will go there. You get it? It's not the responsibility. Even the Prophet was told, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ عَلَيْهِمْ حَفِيظًا. Right? You were not sent to come and then monitor what they do. No. But of course, if the distraction will be more than harm, then some regulations need to be in place. You get it? And then if the regulations is in place and then things are still going on, there's nothing that since they are paying that agreement, they are free to live on the land and do what they want.
So is that money clean enough for Islamic bank?
Yeah, it's clean.
Regardless of how it was generated.
It's clean. It's clean.
Okay. So another question is about the ihsan in our personal lives. So you mentioned ihsan can be in various ways, and another way is that we can establish ihsan in our personal life. So I wanted to know, maybe you're a businessman actually, and for instance you are growing. So the thing is that you look for capitals from everywhere. You mentioned you don't have to financially strain yourself. So I wanted to know, maybe you went for a bank loan and a business started growing, and at the end of the day, things start not going very well. So you became very confused and so this one is something that's affecting you health-wise and also financial-wise. So in this sense, are you practicing ihsan, or is it haram not to engage in things that will strain you financially or maybe?
No, this is a reality of life. Of course, the life is not that smooth. Even if you have to apply ihsan, you get it. So this is something that you want, and then so these are challenges You know, these are challenges and you have to deal with it. You get it? But because of we can't say that because of these challenges, don't do this to benefit yourself. No, do it. Right? Yeah, you do it. But of course, the loan, you should make sure the type of loan you are taking.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. I hope it's clear. Any other question?
And the loan, like, is it like both sides? Does it affect both sides? Like, let's say I'm the one taking the loan. He's the one saying he wants an interestless one. I don't have enough that I'm taking.
Brother.
Like, is it affecting?
The person who explained the condition of the loan to you, the agreement, the detail, the person who writes the agreement, the person who took the loan, the person who gave the loan, the person who used the loan, all of them are cursed. Yes, because they are involved in what, in this thing, in the interest thing, right? So they are all cursed, right? So it's not only only one person, the giver and the taker, no, or the debtor and then the credit, no.
For the whole bank.
Yes.
The workers too. Say maybe any innocent worker, you are just looking for a job and you found something.
Well, like that one will be a different discussion altogether. Sure.
So because, you know, the bank will not tell you they engage in these extra businesses.
A different discussion, you know. It's a totally different thing. It depends on the specific. Every situation, every scenario will have a different ruling depending on the person, the situation and those involved, you know. So with that one, we can't give any general answer.
So with the bank money, for instance, if the bank money is going to the Islamic office, is it clean?
From where to where?
Maybe the bank money is going to the Islamic office. In the sense that maybe, how do we say it? You've conquered the nation,
Okay.
and they already have in their bank. Everything is going, the business is there, they are paying this one to you. And even though you know about indirectly, you know that the bank is engaging in other illegal activities, like things that are not rightful for Islam, is when the money is going to the Islamic coffers, it's clean enough for you.
Yeah, well, Jam, see, you remember when we discussed in Allah Tayyibun, La yakbalu illa tayyiban. We discussed about sources of wealth and then how a haram wealth or money will become halal to someone, right? We said that if, let's say, someone engage in a haram dealing and earn money, it is haram for himself. But when he gives that money to someone who don't know the source of that money, it is halal to what? Halal for him, right? Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So same here. To the Islamic bank, this is what? How they got the money is none of the Bait al-Mal's business.
But even they know. Even they know.
No, they don't know. How do you know they know?
Say, maybe before, definitely there's someone will come and tell you this bank.
No.
And also,
No, so with such things, if you remember, we said that you don't have to investigate. Let's say that you know that this guy, he deals in what? In cocaine. You know that this guy deals in cocaine, right? Or someone told you he deals in cocaine, but you don't know. Because the cocaine dealer, you can't know he deals in cocaine, unless you are also a dealer. Someone told you, right? Someone told you that there's a dealer, right? Okay. This dealer that you don't know, someone told you. And then this dealer came and then what? Gifted you huge sum of money. Don't investigate, brother. Take the money, go. Yes, just take the money and go. Don't investigate where did the money come, what do you do. Just take the money. It's halal for you. Yes. You get it? So with such, even though it's haram, but it becomes what? It becomes what? Halal for what? For such person. If you also remember, we gave a scenario that, let's say, someone has inherited a wealth, all right, from his parents, and then they were what? They were engaging in haram things. So the source of the money was haram. For them, for the heirs, it's what? It's halal, right? Since they are not involved in it and they don't know the source, right? And you remember when we said that Immediately they discover the source of the money, they have to what? They have to find a way to what? To leave the money and then start life. Do you remember we discussed this? You get it?
Even
so
if you hear it from elsewhere, you pretend you didn't hear anything.
on what exactly?
On the side, on the sense of the maybe
The inheritors?
Yes, inheritors.
Of course, you have to investigate. If like it's your parent
Mm.
that left behind properties and then wealth, you have to find out. If you
What
had
if
it,
you don't find out?
if you don't find out, then you will be in a doubt. And you know, we also discussed the hadith says that said Dama yaribukan. Ilama la yaribuk, right? Focus on what certain things and stay away from what? From doubtful issue. So you have to definitely find out.
Okay, sir. What if your family is running a business? I know we have discussed this one already. But your family is running a business and now you are just inheriting. You really don't know anything about this one. It's like everything is not really in dark, but it looks very pure, but you don't know anything about it. You are just, your purpose is to inherit. That's what they really left for you. And that's
Yeah, so you inherit and then enjoy the money.
you don't have to, because you mentioned we have to investigate and
No,
know the source.
you said even if someone tell you that this is the source of the money, then you have to investigate. But if you've never thought of the source of the money and something, enjoy it. It's halal for you.
You say you want to?
No, he has answered. I want to.
Okay. So any other question?
Yes. Say about.
I mean, so from a son.
No, the exam. So you mentioned there's exam in everything. That's why the question is. Okay, so.
But I can't see a son here.
Okay.
I can't. All right.
The son here is exam and enjoying the money. Say the question I want to ask right now is about Saudi Arabia. For instance, let's assume Saudi Arabia are practicing the exam of conquering the world. Let's assume like the way Islamic nation do when they dominate, and we know Saudi Arabia, they are more the percentage of Muslims are dominant, and maybe can Saudi Arabia come to or propose to a country that is less this one, how do we say it? The population is not plenty, and can they propose to them that they want them to become Muslims? And if they deny, do ask them to pay the
jizya.
The jizya. And if they refuse, then they attack them.
So brother, now you have to look at the time that we are living today. Now it's a totally different world compared to the time of the Sahabas. You know, the time of the Sahabas, even though there are territories, but there are no borders. You get it? There are no borders. Yeah, every empire has its own territory, but there are no physical borders, you know. But now we have states, and then there are borders, there are everything, right? So like you can't, where do you even start to go and tell a country that embrace Islam if you don't pay jizya? No, I mean, and then don't forget that there are superpowers now. You know, there are superpowers. When you try to do that, they will what? They will fight back. They will fight you. You know. So even in the time of the Ottoman, you know, the Ottoman Empire, it's ruled for more than 6 centuries. You know, yeah. So they of course they were Muslims, you know, and then they defended a lot of countries. They defended a lot of states that other countries wanted to attack. You get it? You know, it's not for the cause of Islam, but for the cause of what? Humanity and justice. They went and then defended them, you know, like that. So this, looking at the time, is very difficult to do this, you know, compared to the time of the Sahaba, the time of the Khalif. You know, now it's a totally different world altogether. And then since they are also not the superpowers, to be very difficult. We get it.
See, is that why maybe, for instance, maybe there is an Islamic state, maybe is going through a hardship, other Islamic states find it difficult to come and support because they feel like maybe the superpowers can.
No. Here, this is a totally different thing. Now, I mean, it's because there's no unity, you know. The Islamic states, the so-called Islamic states, they are not united, you know. When they unite, the superpower cannot do anything. Yeah, yes, Papa one. May Allah grant us understanding. So any other question on Ihsan?
So even this one, there's ihsan inside.
There's Ihsan in it.
MashaAllah.
Alright, so let's pause here. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.